Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into the world of ultrasonic sensors.
Yes, we are.
We're looking at this new report, the Global Ultrasonic Sensor Market Report 2025 from Cognitive Market Research. You brought this one to my attention, and it paints a really interesting picture.
It really does. It shows a market that's frankly much larger and growing faster than I think a lot of people might guess.
Okay, so give us the headline figures. What are we talking about in terms of size?
Right. So for 2025, the report pegs the global market at USD 524.5 million.
$5 billion, roughly.
Exactly. But the really compelling part, I think, is where it's headed. They're projecting it to hit USD 485.09 million by 2033.
Wow, okay, that's nearly double. Let's unpack that growth rate.
It works out to an 8.00% compound annual growth rate, or AGR.
Right, the CAGR, so like the average growth each year between 2025 and 2033.
Precisely. An 8% sustained increase year on year. That suggests some pretty powerful forces at play.
And the report flags one major driver pretty clearly, doesn't it? Automotive.
Absolutely. It seems the tech we're seeing in cars now, parking sensors, safety systems, that's just the start. They heavily rely on these ultrasonic sensors.
So things like parking assist, emergency braking, blind spot monitoring,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
exactly that. They're, a reliable and pretty cost-effective way for cars to see what's around them.
Makes sense. But it's not just cars, obviously. How does this break down globally? Where's the action happening?
Well, right now, North America holds the biggest piece of the pie, over 40% of the global market.
Okay.
That translates to about USD 1896.07 million for 2025.
And still growing decently?
Yep, a healthy 6.5% CAGR projected for North America through 2033.
And within North America, the U.S. must be dominant.
It is. The U.S. market is estimated around USD 1,496 million for 2025, growing at about 6.3%.
And the report links that specifically to industrial automation,
Yeah.
robotics.
Exactly. Strong demand from those sectors. So if you're tracking manufacturing trends, this is definitely something to watch.
Interesting.
And Canada's showing some real momentum, too. A 7.3% CAGR.
Higher than the U.S. rate.
Slightly, yeah. Their market's about USD 227.53 million this year. And a lot of that seems fueled by smart homes and the whole Internet of Things explosion.
IoT. And Mexico?
Mexico's solid, too. USD 172.54 million market in 2025, looking at around 7% growth.
Okay, so North America is leading in size. What about Europe? They're usually a strong player in tech markets.
They are indeed. Europe holds the second spot, over 30% of the market share.
So what does that look like in numbers?
It's about USD 1486.11 million for 2025. And their projected growth is pretty much in line with Mexico, around 7% CAGR.
And within Europe, I imagine there are some variations, different countries focusing on different things.
Definitely. Take the UK, for example. They've got a market size of roughly USD 250 million. Actually, USD 249.67 million to be precise.
Yeah.
And a strong 7.8% CAGR. The report highlights AGO, those advanced driver assistance systems in cars, as a key driver there.
Right, the automotive angle again.
Yeah.
What about Germany, big industrial base there?
Exactly. Germany's market is larger, USD 294.25 million with a 7.2% CAGR. And yes, it's boosted significantly by robotics and IoT investments.
It really shows how versatile these sensors are, doesn't it? Cars, factories.
It really does. And you see solid figures across the board. France at 6.2% growth, Russia 6%, Italy 6.4%, Spain 6.1%. Even smaller, highly developed economies like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg are showing CAGRs between, say, 6.7% and 7.3%.
So widespread adoption across Europe. But you mentioned earlier that the fastest growth is elsewhere.
Yes. That would be the Asia-Pacific region, APAC.
Okay, hit me with the numbers.
They hold around 23% market share currently, so about USD 229.88 million in 2025.
Yeah.
But the growth projection, it's a striking 10.8% AGR through 2033.
Wow, 10.8%. That's significantly higher than North America or Europe. What's fueling that?
A lot of it is the sheer pace of industrial automation happening across the region.
Yeah.
Manufacturing, electronics assembly, logistics, they're all adopting this tech rapidly.
And I'm guessing China plays a massive role.
A huge role. China's market is pegged at USD 516.5 million for 2025, with a 10.3% CAGR. Their booming automotive industry is a major factor, plus that big push towards smart manufacturing.
And India. Often a high-growth story, too.
Absolutely. India's looking at an even higher CAGR, 12.7%, though from a smaller base of USD 122.99 million this year.
Okay. Any other standouts in APAC?
South Korea is interesting. Their 9.9% growth is tied closely to their big smart city projects.
Using sensors for traffic, waste management, things like that.
Exactly. And Japan, always strong in automation and robotics, is showing 9.3% growth from a USD 169.72 million market.
It's not just the giants either, is it?
Not at all. Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, Southeast Asia as a block, they're all showing CAGRs between 10% and 11.6%. It's like really widespread growth across APAC.
Okay, so we've covered the big three regions. What about South America?
South America holds a bit over 5% of the market share. That's about USD 194.73 million in 2025, but still a respectable 8.7% projected CAGR.
Nearly 9%. Not bad at all. Who are the main players there?
Brazil is key, largely due to its automotive sector again. They're looking at 9.3% growth from a USD 83.34 million base. And Argentina is interesting too, 9.6% CAGR, driven quite a bit by agricultural tech.
Agriculture. How are they used there?
Oh, things like level sensing in silos, distance measurement on autonomous farm equipment, maybe even monitoring livestock. It's quite versatile.
Fascinating. Okay, moving on. Middle East.
The Middle East currently has a smaller share, around 2%, or USD 204.98 million this year, but their growth projection is strong, 9.3% CAGR.
What's driving growth there? Oil and gas or something else?
It's actually more about smart city investments and IoT infrastructure development, especially in places like Qatar and the UAE. Though Turkey's automotive demand is also a factor, Saudi Arabia has the largest market share within the region.
Right. Diversifying economies, investing in tech. Makes sense. And finally, Africa.
Africa holds the smallest share, around 1%, about USD 112.74 million in 2025. But again, decent growth expected, 8.3% CAGR.
Driven by similar factors.
Primarily automotive safety systems, according to the report, especially in markets like Nigeria and South Africa, which has a 9.2% CAGR forecast. It really shows the global reach, even if the market sizes vary significantly.
Absolutely. It's clear this tech is becoming ubiquitous. So the report also breaks things down by sensor type and application, right?
It does. It looks at the different kinds of ultrasonic sensors, what they're used for, and who is using them.
Okay, so let's start with the types. What are the main categories?
Well, the report suggests that ultrasonic proximity sensors likely hold the biggest market share.
Which makes sense, right? They're kind of the all-rounders for detecting if something's nearby without touching it.
Exactly. Very versatile. But the really interesting part is the fastest growing segment, ultrasonic through-beam sensors.
Through-beam. How do they work differently?
Basically, you have a separate transmitter and receiver. An object breaks the beam between them.
Ah, okay. Why are they growing so fast?
Precision. They're known for being very accurate, working over longer distances, and being reliable even in, dusty or dirty environments. Think demanding industrial settings, advanced robotics.
Gotcha. So more specialized, but increasingly valuable. What about the applications? What are people actually doing with these sensors?
Distance measurement holds the biggest share currently.
That feels foundational. Like parking sensors, measuring liquid levels in tanks.
Precisely. Essential for automotive, industrial automation, robotics. But the application seeing rapid growth is object detection.
So less about how far away something is and more about just if it's there.
Kind of, yeah. Or detecting specific objects. Think collision avoidance in cars, that's a huge driver. Also, automated inventory tracking in warehouses, quality control on production lines.
Right, safety and efficiency driving that growth. Now, the big one, the end users. Who's buying all these sensors?
No prizes for guessing the largest shareholder? It's automotive.
Yeah, that tracks with everything we've discussed. ADS, safety features becoming standard.
Exactly. But the report highlights the medical and healthcare sector as the most rapidly growing end user.
Really, faster growth than automotive.
Apparently so. Think about non-invasive diagnostics. Ultrasound imaging is the classic example, right?
Yeah.
But also wearable health monitors and increasingly robotic-assisted surgery.
Wow. The precision needed there must be incredible.
Absolutely. And telemedicine, connected healthcare devices, it's all contributing to this rapid expansion.
So beyond automotive and healthcare, what other industries are significant users?
Oh, it's a pretty long list. Consumer electronics, power and oil and gas, chemical industries, agriculture, construction, pulp and paper, material handling, food and beverage, even aerospace and defense.
It really is incredibly diverse.
It is, which brings us to the core market drivers the report identifies.
Okay, let's recap those. Industrial automation and robotics.
Yeah, Big one.
Rising use in healthcare and medical imaging.
Yep, that fast-growing segment.
And the expansion of smart homes and all those IoT devices we mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Those seem to be the main engines pushing the market forward.
But it can't all be smooth sailing. What about challenges or restraints?
Well, the report does mention a couple of key things. One is the cost and complexity, especially for the really high-end advanced sensor systems.
Right, that can be a barrier to entry maybe for smaller companies or in price-sensitive applications.
Potentially, yes. The other constraint is performance limitations in, let's say, extreme environmental conditions. Very high temperatures or certain materials that absorb sound waves can sometimes affect accuracy.
Okay, understandable limitations. But are there trends working to overcome these?
Definitely. Two big ones stand out. First, the increasing integration of artificial intelligence and IoT.
Making the sensor smarter.
Basically, yeah. Allowing for real-time data analysis, predictive maintenance, making systems more autonomous. The second major trend is the push towards miniaturization and better energy efficiency.
Ah, smaller sensors that use less power. Crucial for wearables, consumer gadgets.
And medical devices, drones, all sorts of things. Making them more robust to handle those tougher environments is also part of this trend.
And with all this growth and innovation, I assume the competitive landscape is pretty active.
Very much so. It's described as highly competitive. The report lists several key players' names like Bluff, Banner Engineering, Baumer, IFM Electronic, Murata, Pepperl plus Fuchs, SICK AG, Siemens AG.
Household names in industrial automation and electronics.
Exactly. And the competition seems focused on pushing the boundaries of accuracy, making sensors more durable, and ensuring they integrate smoothly with, AI platforms and IoT networks.
Are there specific examples of recent innovations mentioned?
Yeah, a couple. Murata apparently launched a new automotive sensor just last November, emphasizing its sensitivity and how well it resists liquids.
Okay, practical improvements.
And Belef brought out an ultrasonic position sensor back in August 2023, specifically designed for hydraulic cylinders, aiming for better reliability in things like metalworking.
So real-world applications driving specific product developments.
Precisely. It shows the market isn't just growing, it's actively evolving.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive?
Well, first, the global ultrasonic sensor market is definitely significant, over USD 5 billion now, and it's set for really strong growth, hitting close to USD 9.5 billion by 2033. That's an 8% CAGR.
Right. Driven hard by the automotive sector, but seeing the fastest rate of growth in medical and healthcare.
Exactly. And geographically, while North America leads in size, Asia Pacific is the powerhouse for growth, with that impressive 10.8% CAGR.
And in terms of the tech itself, proximity sensors are common, but through-beam sensors are growing fastest due to their precision. Key applications are distance measurement and object detection.
Correct. We also noted the drivers automation, healthcare, IoT, and the restraints like cost and environmental limits.
But the big trends seem to be overcoming those restraints. AI and IoT integration, plus making sensors smaller, tougher, and more efficient.
That sums it up nicely. It's a dynamic market with a lot happening.
It really is. Which leaves us with a final thought, perhaps.
Yeah, I was thinking, given this rapid growth, especially in areas we maybe didn't associate strongly with ultrasonic sensors before, like smart cities and advanced medical tech, how might this technology evolve beyond what we see today? What completely unexpected areas might see significant adoption of ultrasonic sensors in the next 10 years? Could they play a bigger role in, say, environmental monitoring? Or maybe human-computer interaction in new ways?
That's a great question. Beyond just detecting cars or measuring levels, where else could sensing sound waves make a difference? Definitely something to mull over.
Food for thought.
Indeed. A really fascinating look into the world of ultrasonic sensors. Thanks for walking us through that report.
My pleasure.